Hi, greetings. I'm Ashish Ahuja, the founding product manager for Renesas Advanced Microcontroller Kits. And I'd like to share with you some insights that I've observed, the key trends in the industry when it comes to the microcontrollers and the embedded space. Has been
And
seeing.
what was with these kits you talk about?
Oh, yes. So at Renesas, I led a global initiative to define and productize a family of innovation kits for the RA microcontroller family. In these kits, we wanted to provide customers the standardization and flexibility for a faster learning curve while they evaluate Renesas microcontrollers to implement their proof of concepts and bring their ideas to life.
So what's your background in the embedded world?
Well, embedded has been my passion since I was a kid. I got my first programming kit when I was not even in high school, even before that. It was 8051 Atmel board, and I used to program it in assembly language. That's all I had at that time. But then I became an electrical engineer, went to Texas Tech University for my master's degree, started at Texas Instruments in automotive team, and eventually got into the applications team of microcontrollers. And since then, for the last, give or take 15 years, I've dedicated my life in this industry. So I would say that my journey in microcontrollers and embedded space has been almost 15 years, and I've worked in various roles like applications engineering, product marketing, product management, ecosystems, business development, you name it.
And where are you based?
Oh, I'm based in the Silicon Valley in Santa Clara in California, which is like a 6-hour drive from here or a 1-hour flight from here.
And so what's next? What do you see at the embedded world this year? And what do you think is exciting? What do you think people should do if they are interested to be part of the embedded industry?
Well, I think that's a very loaded question. I'll try to keep my answer very short. The first thing is about the key observations I've made this year. And in the last couple of years, we are seeing a big transition of compute from cloud to node and on the edge. So what that means is all the risks involved in sending your data to cloud, all the power and latency, that can be eliminated if you have enough compute power at the node or in the edge. So what that means is, running like AI kind of workloads, you can run them on your node at the device. And in applications where the compute is more intense, you can use a product which has multi-core capability as well as an NPU, the neural processing unit. So those workloads can be run more efficiently. So we are seeing some products from Infineon, for example. It's called PSOC Edge. There was a product from Renesas called RA8P1, which is from the RA microcontroller family. So these devices feature special capabilities to run AI kind of workloads. And I think this is what customers should be looking at if they want to expand the scope of their applications.
It's quite exciting, right?
Oh, definitely, I can tell you there's a lot of traction out there. Embedded has evolved quite a bit. The tool chains have gotten, on one side, more sophisticated, but on the other side, much more easier to use. As I told you before, I used to program in assembly language when I was a kid. Then it became C++ and C, and then it became graphical user interface, and now it's, the machine will write the code for you. Code generation capabilities.
You can just talk to it.
Yes, actually, Microchip showed me a product this afternoon where they use an LLM and it will write some code for you. So you no longer have to memorize where to go in the data sheet to find a code example. Very impressive.
And it's running directly on the device.
No, this is a tool chain. It's running on the Windows computer. But once it creates a code and creates an object code, that will run on the microcontroller.
So what do you think about the embedded world North America compared to the embedded world Nuremberg, Germany?
I'll tell you, this is my second visit to this show. I attended the first flagship show as well. From the American landscape, I think this is a pretty decent sized show. A lot of local vendors have showed up. But clearly the one in the Nuremberg is huge, it's large, and when you're walking all around, your legs will get sore and you will know the difference. But I would say the energy here is unmatched. We are in the West Coast, California, and I see a lot of old friends, colleagues, and professionals I've worked with. So great place to reconnect and great place to get to know some new technology.
And how do you think it's growing since last year?
I'd
The
say
second is bigger than the first?
I would say I don't have a benchmark. I went to the one in Austin last year. It was quite packed. I'd say this one felt a little bit bigger to me, but that's just my subjective evaluation. I don't have any numbers to back it up.
Do you think it's a better location to be in Anaheim, next to Los Angeles?
Certainly.
Rather than Austin?
For the guys who are in Austin, I know you will have to travel and catch a flight. Don't take me wrong. But clearly, this is the epicenter of innovation with Silicon Valley nearby, a lot of big companies around. So I think this is a good location, works for me. I will be spending some time at Santa Barbara tomorrow. We'll be doing a bike ride. So yes, I would love to visit again here and enjoy the Southern California beaches too,
There's
while
also
getting
some
some work
cool
done.
embedded technology being done in Austin, right?
Oh yes,
Some of these tech companies have big offices there, right? And like for example, NXP has a bunch of stuff there, and TI is not far away in Dallas, right?
certainly. Infineon has a pretty big site in Austin. The PSOC Edge team actually operates out of Austin. So clearly it's a great place for this kind of activity as well. And then obviously the Freescale NXP business is all in Austin. You know the history about that. And other big players like Intel do have locations over there. So certainly that's also a great place for professionals like us to create some impressive products.
So what's next? What are you going to do next?
You know what? I'll tell you that at Renesas, I led a pretty big initiative for the development kits. And I'm very proud for the contributions I was able to make and the impact I was able to create. I'm in between opportunities, looking for my next big role. And I hope I can land at a place where I can continue to make an impact and make customers' life easier while bringing profitability for my employer and building great relationships and learning along the way.
So, so what would you recommend people that want to work in the embedded world? How is it to get into this industry?
You know, this industry is very welcoming, and embedded itself is a broad space. You can focus on the hardware side of things, or you can focus on the firmware software side of things, or you can focus on the application side of things. So if you are, let's say, a new college graduate or not even a college student yet, you have some ambitions for the future, I'll tell you, get one of those low-cost kits, such as the one from Microelectronica, a Micro E. They call it clicker boards, and they have add-on called click boards. Get something like that, or get an Arduino kit for that matter. A Renesas has a RA4-based kit, and start tinkering with it. You don't need to be an engineer to get your hands dirty. And if you discover this is something that fascinates you, make a small project, solve a problem in your home. Maybe have a sensor on your door or in your drawer and see what it happens. And then if this works out for you, YouTube is a great university. You don't have to go to like an expensive training to learn how these things work. And you build your time over that. And if this is something that works for you, totally, by all means, take a path of engineering, become an electrical engineer or a software engineer. Computer science is a great discipline to get your feet wet in this area. And then companies like ST Micro, Texas Instruments, these have a very good program with a lot of universities where you can get exposure to the technologies, work on internship activities, co-op program. I did a co-op at Texas Instruments, and that's how I got my feet wet in the industry. So I would say, sky is the limit, but you got to start somewhere, start small, evaluate your aptitude, and then, TI, Texas Instruments, NXP, which is now, Infineon. So some companies like TI, ST Micro, NXP, Renesas, Microchip, these are very big in making microcontrollers, and you can start applying for internships and maybe find your starting role and come to the show. Everyone is welcome at the hall. You can get a little pass and walk around, talk to people, ask questions, and you never know what you will find. So,
And there might be some young guys or girls anywhere in the world can get into this, right?
yes.
There's some very affordable boards. They can start to figure out how to use them and become an expert, maybe using ChatGPT also something to learn.
Absolutely. Getting a board is no longer a challenge. The starting point for these boards is $10, $15. And if you ask one of these companies very politely, I'm sure they will be happy to oblige you with a free kit. And once you get the hardware, then you just have to spend time in learning how to use it. A lot of tutorials, documentations, videos are out there, so you can learn on your own. And also some companies organize tech days. For example, Renesas has tech days, TI has tech days, and so on. ST has a lot of programs, so you can attend these events. They give you a 4 or 5 hour rundown of the products, how to use it, and then you can be on your own. So there are various ways you can get started without spending a lot of money.
Don't get fooled by fake HDMI products. Only source authentic HDMI products from licensed HDMI adopters and authorized manufacturers and
resellers to ensure compliance. Counterfeit or unlicensed products can cause poor performance.
Certified HDMI products undergo official testing for safety and spec compliance.
Avoid brand damage, warranty issues, and customer dissatisfaction from unlicensed products.
long-term cost savings come from reliable, genuine HDMI solutions.
Unlicensed products may lack support and pose safety risks.
Use certified HDMI cables with official HDMI certification labels.
Report suspected counterfeit products at hdmi.org/resource/infringe.
Thanks to our global partners for helping keep the HDMI brand real and ensuring consumers get the experience they deserve.